because I'm going to show you a couple of things. Folks, there is some good news. Check this out. It came in the mail today. Yes, it did. It's Cousin T's buttermilk pancake mix. Check it out. It's Cousin T, folks. I got it. And I'm going to be whipping up these bad boys next week. There ain't no doubt about that. Here he is. Cousin T overtook Aunt Jemima. Yes. Well, as you all are probably aware, they yanked Aunt Jemima from the shelves, and now it's like Pearl Mining Company, some such BS. So Terrence here, good old Terrence, decided to put out his own a variety of things. It's not just pancake mix and stuff. There's other things like chicken mix and all this stuff. It is just great. And he is Cousin T, as in Cousin Terrence. And so I'm going to be whipping up some of this stuff next Friday night for the Christmas show. Okay. So there you go with that. And check it out. Here's the actual. There's Cousin T. Original syrup right there. And note that a couple of things. No high fructose corn syrup. And it's made in the USA, folks. Right there. Right freaking there. Okay. So that's on the agenda for next week. I don't know what the hell happened to Stephanie Beaton. I emailed her this past week, never heard back from her. She's been on. I know she's actually even done a live show. So she's ignoring me for some reason. So I doubt she will be on next week's show. Let's just put it that way. But Horror Mike will be there, obviously. And I will be cooking in the Horror Mike kitchen, possibly with another Scream Queen. Okay, that's what I'm saying right now. I'm not going to reveal any more than that, but you heard it here, folks. There could be another Scream Queen on the scene in Horror Mike's kitchen, and she may be there in person. That's all I'm saying right now. That's what I'm talking to you about, okay? So get ready. Hold on to your hats. Let's see here. What the hell's going? Oh, yeah. This is a little awkward. I gotta adjust this a little bit. There. That should be all right. Let's take a look. Who's saying that? Okay, Steve is about to call Scotland Yard, which is probably always a good thing. Werewolf is laughing. He should be. Joe says, for me, it's waffles or nothing. Good Lord. He's a purist. He's a waffle purist. Always waffling about, eh, Joe? Come on now. Steve says, I pity the fool who ain't into tea. You got it. You got it, man. Michael Taylor, you got it. Very cool. I'm guessing you're not going back to that computer. I might. I don't know. But you see, the thing is, Michael Taylor, I don't think it's necessary. Now, you guys have to understand the other computer is a supercomputer. Okay. It practically makes my breakfast, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's a monster in comparison to the computer I'm currently using. So it has nothing to do with the capacity of the computer. We have established that. And as far as I can tell, it has something to do with StreamYard. The problem with going through YouTube, obviously, as you guys saw, is there was a picture. And apparently the picture looked all right, looked fine to me. But there was no sound. It was not, for some reason, picking up the sound that's on the camera. I'm really not quite sure what the hell is going on with that, but I'm going to find out. solve that. And I think that next week I'm going to go directly through YouTube. I think that's the I think that's the way to go, man, because I hate this. Like, you open up and you want to be like, obviously, right on. You don't want like this crappy picture. I saw the picture, it was horrible, like last week. That cannot happen again, folks. So, it's either going to be another streaming service like StreamYard, or I'm just going to go directly through YouTube. One of the two. There are a couple of other streaming services where, for example, I can stream to other platforms simultaneously, and it's not that expensive. StreamYard is expensive. There is no doubt about that. It's kind of ludicrous, in my opinion. Uh, so that's just the name of that tune. Michael Taylor says you are dropping some major news on. It's major news, folks. It's major news night. Steve, well, use that breakfast computer if you can't get a Scream Queen. Okay. Eric says these things happen. Perhaps you can find a better service. I know using OBS and YouTube are free, of course, yes. And I was thinking that was one of them. OBS, Eric. I may go into OBS. I believe there's another one called Orchard. Have you guys ever heard of that one? I think it's Orchard. It's something, if it's not Orchard, it's something very similar. The name, and I believe it's like $10 a month, and there's no logo, and of course you can stream to multiple platforms. So yes, that's I realized that was what you were talking about, Michael Taylor. Indeed. So in any case, folks, if you can see me reasonably well right now, I'm just going to adjust the light a little bit. That should be a little better. What I wanted to do, I mean, it was kind of a big thing because I was going to freaking, I was showing off the other computer and I thought the image for some stupid reason would be better, but it really isn't. But I did say I was going to show some of my pre-code comic books. Now, there is this is like part A. Part B will probably be either the last Friday in December or the first Friday in January 2024. That will be part B. So this is just a few. I think you've seen a couple of them, but I know you haven't seen some of them. Part B, I don't think you've seen any of them, but I have to wait a little bit. But check this out. So here we go. It's a little beat up, folks, but it's Sheena Jungle Queen 3D. Yes, I'm going to take it out. It's rather amusing, the story behind this too. Now, hopefully you can see that pretty clearly. And you can also see there's writing on the upper part of the comic book. Still looks pretty good though. It's not bad. The pages, I mean, it's in 3D, so me showing you this is not going to do you too much good. Trust me, that it's 3D. Okay. And you can also sew leather like an expert, folks, right here. I think that's something that is quite important. Sewing leather like an expert. In any case, 3D Jungle Queen Sheena right here, 1953. And it's pretty good. It is in remarkably good shape, especially considering that I paid $10 for it. And this was not too long ago. I think I bought this like 3 months ago, 2 months ago, for $10. I've been looking for it for a long time, as you guys know. I really like 3D comic books, especially pre-code, and then going into even like the Bronze Copper Age stuff from Blackthorn and Eclipse and all that. So I was really glad to get this. Really great Maurice Whitman cover of Sheena there. Quite nice indeed. So that's my 3D Sheena Jungle Queen that I got real damn cheap. Okay. So I'm not complaining. I am not complaining, folks. I'm probably going to take all of these out. Yeah, this is really interesting. This is a strange one, folks. It's a little bit of an odd one. Misterios del Gato Negro. Of course, Black Cat Mystery. This is the Mexican equivalent of Black Cat Mystery, right? Unfortunately, they use different covers. As you can see here, this is not such a great cover. The one interesting thing about these Mexican reprints of Black Cat, now this, for instance, this is from 1958. And so what they do, it's really quite bizarre, actually. Let me show you a couple of things. Now, you guys will recognize, some of you will recognize Cuentos de Brujas. What that is, Witches' Tales from Harvey. Okay, and that's actually a cover to a Witches' Tales US printing. But as you can see, it's, you know, they reprint the stories mostly in color, you know, but then oddly enough, like they have one story called Las Manos del Terror, the Hands of Terror, and it's in black and white, but it's throughout the book. They'll just show, like, they have like 2 pages, then it goes to another story, you know, and it just appears throughout the book. Rather odd. So that is, and here we go. Yeah, I believe that's Tomb of Terror. I think that was Harvey. Cumbres de Tortura, I believe, is Tomb of Terror from Harvey. I may be wrong, but that could be. It's a very strange. They're very strange, but it is kind of funny because, of course, this is 1958. Now, the Comics Code Authority does not only applies to the United States. So this was published with those pre-code horror stories from Harvey in Mexico in 1958. You know, so there you go. Yeah, but all right, there we go. So, how is it so far, folks? Have you gotten any? Has the image devolved into crap again, or is it? Have you encountered any problems? Is it fine? Uh, has the image frozen since I've been showing these comic books? Okay, good, good. That's a good sign. Okay. Ooh. Next up is Black Magic. Oh yes, Black Magic with a fantastic Simon and Kirby cover. I'm going to take this out, of course, so you can see it in its full glory, folks. There we go. Now, some very interesting things about this particular comic book. The cover is the head of the family. Now, this story was made into a movie called The Head of the Family by none other than who's Full Moon Entertainment. Full Moon Entertainment, Charles Band. You can currently watch the movie on Tubi. I don't know if he ever directly, said, "Hey, yeah, look, I got the story from this comic book." But yes, I mean, it's basically a family of mutants, of freaks, just like in his movie. So, and of course, the head of the family is a giant head. If you have seen the film, so this is Black Magic with some early Kirby doing horror. Oh yes, folks. Let me show you. I'm going to show you the splash page. It's not, I don't know, it is a problem with Black Magic, is that their splash pages were never very, I want to say they were just never very eye-catching. They were never very sensationalistic like the other pre-code comics of the day. And I think that's probably a reason why Black Magic doesn't really fetch the prices that the other pre-code horror comics, fetch. It's, I think it's one of the, I don't want to say non undesirable, but it's not high on anybody's list. Let's put it that way, folks. I like it. I like Black Magic. I like the early Kirby horror stylings, the Simon and Kirby stuff. It's quite good indeed, really. Oh boy, here we go. Everybody loves a giant spider cover, and I'm gonna present that to you right now, folks. What issue is this? God, woo, boy. Oh yeah, yeah. It's Adventures into the Unknown, folks. Oh yes, the poor gal stuck in a web being menaced by a spider with a skull head. This is issue number 33. And the thing about Adventures into the Unknown is that, of course, they were always, I think, 52 pages. I believe it was always, yeah, they always had the giant 52-page size. And I think that went on for many years, that the, they had, they had more stories. What could be said? That's what I'm saying to you right now. Let me see if I can find a groovy splash page. Some of these are not that good either. I mean, it may be a matter of taste, folks, but I don't think so. Okay. I mean, check out. Okay, this is pretty good. The Girl Who Died Twice. I like this one. It's a pretty nice splash page. Girl tied up. They're about ready to torture there for being a witch. That whole thing. But typically speaking, I really never liked the cover artists for Adventures into the Unknown. Like, I don't even know. This stuff like this. The Monster Strike is just about as flat as a board, in my opinion. This is like, what the hell? It's like this dinosaur running around. It's just not very good. Okay. And the artist, I believe it was Ernie, I want to say Ernie Ball, did a lot of, no, I'm sorry, Ken Bald. Ken Bald did a lot of these covers. I believe this is a Ken Bald cover, and this is one of his better ones because he did a lot of what I would consider to be not very interesting covers for Adventures into the Unknown. This is a pretty good one, with that spider with the skull head there. Okay. Okay, a few people have come in, I see. Hold on. Jesus. Okay, we've got a lot of people in. I just kind of got carried away there, folks. I see Fireball Comics is with us, PBR Street Gang. Very good to see you, gentlemen. Of course, Steve Harrison is here. Australia has a lot of horror mags made up of reprints from USA. Skywald and all that stuff. Yes, and they're all over the place. Steve Harrison, I picked up some Skywald like Nightmare and Psycho reprints in Peru, believe it or not. In Spanish, I still have them. Yeah, I think they printed them without the rights. That's very possible too. Hello, Apex Comics. Good to see you, my good man. You missed all the fun beginning. All is well. Q Satana. Q Santana. Sorry. Or Santana. I should say, yes, full moon. Is it a full moon? Maybe that caused the incredible tragedy. Michael Taylor, no, the image is still considered consistently clean or good. Very creepy, very dark humor. Okay. Black Magic. Well, as I just said, Apex Black Magic, the comic book, The Head of the Family is a movie. You can watch it on Tubi. Charles Band, Full Moon Entertainment, my good man, did a look. I don't know if he ever copped to it, but he did base his movie on this comic book, the Black Magic Head of the Family comic book. Eric says, please help a brother and give him this stream a like. Thank you, Eric. Steve says, did Kirby create Maddock? God, you got me on that one. Look, I lost interest after 1955 until 1963. I mean, I wasn't alive then, but I'm just saying that between the years of 1955 and really 1962, comics sucked. All right. I'm just going to come out with it. The Comics Code Authority sucked all the life out of them. It wasn't until they figured out the return of the superheroes and the early, Silver Age stuff. That's when it started getting good again. But man, it was really lame for a good 7 years there. Kirby doing horror, very cool. Yes, and he did a pretty fair amount too. Fantastic Adventures into the Unknown. Wow, love that spider cover. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool, man. They're not that expensive either if you're looking for originals. Of course, you can always find the reprints. This one's pretty beat up, as you can see. It's got a big tear right there. I believe it's mostly separated from the comic book. I think I picked this up for like $15, something like that. Cheap, folks. So there you go. Of course, that was, I don't know how, 7 years ago. Eric says, just a reminder, you can get a Blu-ray of Horror Mike's movie First Men on Mars via eBay here. Thank you, sir, for the plug. I appreciate that. Apex, The Girl Who Died Twice, Act 1 of Black Magic movie. Apex, get the budget and we're in business. Fireball Comics, Ken Bald did the Dark Shadows newspaper strip. Now, I did not know that, Fireball Comics. Thank you for that, the 411 on that. That is interesting. And so that must have been late 60s through well into the 70s, I'm assuming. He was doing that stuff. Graphic Man is here. Hello, Graphic Man. How are you? Eric says, Skywald comics are in the public domain. Jacob says, hi, Graphic Man. Eric says, hello, Jacob Kornowski. Hello. Okay. Holographic man. PBR says, just saw the last voyage of Demeter. IMO, thanks for the help, Horror Mike. Well, you're very welcome. I'm still, wow, geez Louise, man. Holy Toledo. PBR. 1999, folks, and that's US dollars. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I am currently looking into that, PBR, and I may strike gold soon. I will certainly let you know. But thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Shadowhawk, hey, you're back. Yes, and I'm front, back end and front. That sucked totally, man. That opener when it was all crappy, I was like, what the hell? Ugh. I don't know. I just don't know. Jacob says, PBR, I'm planning on watching that as well. Okay, what? Oh, the last voyage of Demeter. Maybe it's Demeter. Maybe I'm just saying it totally wrong. Eric says, I prefer to see Werewolf versus Nudist Colony. Make it so. Yeah, that would be fantastic. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking about that the other day, Eric. I swear to God, I think we could shoot it in like 10 days for about 20K. Now, obviously, there's no way to escape the fact that you have to have a couple of actresses that can act, that wouldn't mind being completely nude because they're in a nudist colony. So that's money right there. Then you have to have the extras, like for example, playing volleyball. I don't know, Twister, slip and slide, all that stuff. They're going to be nude. That's money. You can't escape it, folks. There's no way around that, but I think that with a budget of 20 grand, it could come to pass. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just, the 20 grand, folks. And I think we could have a Werewolf versus Nudist Colony movie. So that's something to kind of contemplate. Okay. Shadowhawk says Bernie will always be the king of horror. Kirby can have the superheroes, certainly. Yeah, look, there's no doubt about it. I like Kirby's horror stuff with Black Magic, but there's no comparison between that. I mean, years later, he gets into doing the superheroes, and it's just fantastic. He was doing superheroes in the golden age, obviously in the 1940s, and that's where he was cutting his teeth on comics. And then he got into the horror and westerns and stuff in the pre-code, and crime, definitely crime. He was doing crime comic books. But it really was. It was the Fantastic Four and X-Men and the Avengers. That's when he just went through the roof, and rightfully so. Fireball says 1971 makes sense. That's for Dark Shadows comic strip, folks. Jacob says Shadowhawk agreed, Master of the Macabre. Shadowhawk says still love that smiley avatar. Smiley avatar. Oh yeah, that is the PBR avatar. Yes, that is quite nice. Apex, well, that's an excellent super chat, PBR. Yes, thank you, PBR. I greatly appreciate it, especially on a night like tonight, which started off with a big pile of crapola, in my opinion. Fembat is coming soon, folks. Fembat on the way. Well, and more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, it's Fembat and the Creep. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Apex, it's Fembat and the Creep Ashcan comic book, which is soon to be coming out. In the next few months, it looks like. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So everybody be well. I'm gonna get Apex on the show once that thing is ready to go, and we're gonna do a whole show on Fembat and the Creep and his new Ashcan comic book, obviously. Shadowhawk says, I heard Demeter kind of sucks. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know. Apex, yes, GoFundMe on Werewolf versus Nudist Colony. There we go. Well, it's possible. Steve says, last voyage of the Demeter, I think it's Demeter, right? Was Alien at Sea. Great freaking movie. What? I know what are you talking about it's kind of a quasi looking Nosferatu kind of thing? The last voyage of the Demeter? Is that the one? Steve says, what about Werewolf versus Nudist Colony to make sure it passes the ratings board? No ratings board. We got no stinking ratings boards. Okay, Steve? No. I release all of my films NR, as in not rated. Shadowhawk says, okay, Steve, I thought trailer looked good, but had bad reviews everywhere. Okay. I mean, you guys, isn't that the one? Isn't there a giant vampire bat? Humanoid vampire bat in the last voyage of the Demeter, or whatever the fuck it's called. Apex says, hire Instagram girls who can act on Werewolf versus Nudist Colony. There you go, right there. Gratu Orloff is on the scene. Hello, Gratu. Michael Taylor says, will Kirby and Simon... Jesus Christ. Yeah, they did Golden Age Captain America. Yes, you're correcto. Thomas says, hello, Gratu. Eric says, hello. Shadowhawk says, the old... No, fuck this thing. Ugh. Sorry, folks. Gotta get my glasses on for these fucking things. Okay, the old Chaos Comics character, kind of. He talked to Ernie, maybe, sort of. God, I don't know what the hell that is. Of course, Ernie was completely insane. Long E. It has Nosferatu in it. How is that alien in the sea then? I don't get it. Yeah, it's Nosferatu, man. Shadowhawk talks. Yes, Mike, that one's supposed to be the story of Drax's journey to England. Okay. All right. The Demeter, or Demeter, or what the hell? I don't know. Was the ship that brought Dracula to England. Yeah. I thought it was Demeter. I don't know. Steve Harrison says it is Nosferatu, a lot like Alien, that you feel the atmosphere of dread and begin to care for the crew. Okay. Michael Taylor, I heard there's a Dracula reference in that movie. There could be. All right, folks, I'm continuing on. Check it out. Just a few more pre-code comic books that you have. I don't think I've shown these to you. I did a video on one of them. But I don't think you've seen these. Oh, no. Now, this one's, it's a little worse for wear, folks. But it's definitely one of the greats. And this magazine is Haunted lineup. This is issue number 5 of this magazine is Haunted with Dr. Death on the cover and that fantastic Sheldon Moldoff cover. It is just freaking beautiful. And as you can see, yeah, it's fine ticky. That's about all I can say. It's got some creases in it. Definitely a low end copy, but it's intact. You know, it's in pretty good shape otherwise. As you can see, it's not bad. So there you go. The magazines, I just love it. Always loved this cover, and I've been looking for a copy for a long time. It is just classic headlights, zombie coming through the door. Hi, honey, I'm home type of thing. Dr. Death right there. Just fantastic. Now this one, if you've seen the video, you've seen this comic book. One of my favorites, definitely one of my favorites from the Superior Comics lineup. Now this was a Canadian company that did pre-code horror comics, including Mysteries Weird and Strange, Strange Mysteries, and Journey into Fear. Now this is Strange Mysteries number 2 from 1951 with that fabulous, the colors, everything. This cover is just stunning. And in my opinion, I mean, they, you know, even the comic book database won't cop to it, but I believe this is a Robert Webb cover. And Robert Webb, of course, worked for Iger Shop for a long time. This is definitely Robert Webb on the story. Swamp Terror. And another one of my favorites, the one, it's just too cool for school, folks. And I handle this rather carefully. The Haunted Hand. Check that out. I love it. And it seems as though, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that haunted hand is like pointing right at her breasts, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, yes, honey, I'm going for the breasts right there. It could have, they might have actually titled it the Horny Haunted Hand. You know what I'm saying? But once again, another Robert Webb. But the one thing I love about this is the Swamp Terror story is great. It's classic weird tale style story. I like also the haunted hand. But man, the colors on the cover are stunning. And I got this one because, well, they've held up. The cover is in remarkably great shape. It's got a little writing on the top, as you can see, but no biggie. I just dig the hell out of it. It's one of my favorites. One of the favorites of mine that I have in my collection. Now this next one you may have seen if you've been watching my show or watching my videos for more than a year. You've probably seen this. Or even on 4-Color Fossils. I think I showed this, but it's got one of the most outrageous pre-code comic book covers of all time, in my opinion. It's just one of those covers, folks, and naturally, it's from Mr. Mystery, which is another one of my favorites. Check this out. It's Mr. Mystery. I believe this is issue number 8 from November of 1952. And what you have on the cover is a woman in a negligee, and she's on a boat, right? And it's the SS Mystery, the boat. Okay, and she's reclining in her bed, her little bed, and she's reading a book. And the book, you may not be able to see that. It's so great. The book's the title of the book, which it says on the binding there, is "The Dead Will Rise," right? So she's casually reading her book, and well, here comes a freaking zombie flying right through her porthole. You see what I'm saying there, folks? They always fly through the porthole. Uh, it's what the hell? I just, this cover is just one of those insane pre-code covers that it's just great. It's one of my, definitely one of my favorites. And it's got a great story inside. This one is kind of fucked up. I gotta tell you guys, it's split. It's got a spine split. I gotta be real careful with this. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I can actually. I'm not gonna do that. I gotta work on this one. It's also missing pages. So I got it relatively cheaply. You know, you get a 2.0 of this issue will probably run you about $500 now, just a low grade copy, you know. But I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorites. It's crazy, freaking crazy, man. So that concludes part A. As I say, part B, I'm going to show you guys end of the month or the first week in January. You're going to dig it. You are going to dig the heck out of it. Stuff that I guarantee you have not seen before. Let me get back to the chat here. Where are we? Steve Harrison. Yeah, Ditko did a Dr. Death logo. So did Sheldon Moldoff and a couple of other artists. There's this distinct. Let me show. Ah, shit. Okay. I printed the Steve Ditko Dr. Death on my Haunted Thrills playing card for MegaCon. I had my film was playing there at MegaCon. And so I decided to do a pack of cards with the Ditko Dr. Death. And so you can see him, he does a distinct type of Dr. Death, which is fantastic. It's different from Sheldon Moldoff's and a few other people's version of Dr. Death. They're all really cool, in my opinion. But I do love Ditko's Dr. Death. There ain't no doubt about it. What the hell? You're right. Steve Ditko's Dr. Death, a Mike T. Lighten production. Indeed. All right, what we got? What we got? Dr. Death used a skeleton key to open that door. Michael Taylor says, cool cover. There was a Golden Age Batman villain called Dr. Death for a few issues. There was also, I mean, you know, Dr. Death, it's such a classic name. There was a pulp magazine in the 1930s, could have been the 1920s and 30s, featuring Dr. Death, another totally unrelated character, but, you know, Dr. Death. There you go. Apex, Mr. Mystery. Yeah, what a great, great series. Those comic books are out of sight, man. Those comic books just blow away EC Comics in terms of desirability and cost. They are way beyond EC. I mean, you can't even touch some of those things, for under 10 grand for a mid to upper grade copy. It's just insane. It is totally insane. They're one of those, along with, there's a few other titles, but Mr. Mystery, Weird Mysteries, Weird Chills can also command huge prices. Of course, Star Publications, all the L.B. Cole horror stuff is incredible. Very cool, Mr. Mystery number 8. Yes, I love it. Well, that's the whole thing, Eric. The sea monster zombie is entering her porthole. And that's what I really love about that cover. The zombies always enter the porthole. See what I'm saying right there, folks? Yes. I mean, what is happening exactly? Like, for instance, she's sitting there reading. Is this happening simultaneously to like 200 other cabins on the ship? There's no story related to this, unfortunately, in this issue. But can you imagine? It's like, during the 1950s, people are on a cruise. This woman's alone in her cabin. And suddenly these zombies just come crashing through like 200 portholes and cabins, and they start attacking people. Now that would be a hell of a freaking scenario right there for a film. There's no doubt about it. I don't know, folks. I just don't know why. Spock, I can't understand why the zombie is going through the portal. Steve says, I think she should have been reading aloud. Huh? Okay, there we go. Yeah, you can watch that spell check. Right through her porthole. Oh, my stars. Yes, it is true. Apex missing pages. There might be a fast effects. Oh, I've got it. Apex, I've got well, it's just some dude, some collector who makes scans of his comic books. I've got a replica of it with all of the stories in it. So that's not a biggie there. Daninsky is on the scene. Hello, Daninsky. Steve Ditko, the legend, agreed. One of the greats. Eric says you can also rent and watch Horror Mike's Witch Tales on Amazon here. Thank you for that plug, Eric. Shadowhawk says, just imagine the smell. Yes, folks, that's what I'm kind of talking about right now. It would have been, you could just, it's great. It's, what it is this. There's a certain thing about it, this happens in all comic books, and you expect this with superhero comic books, that when you look at the cover, there is something, a scene of action, like things are happening. Somebody's about to get punched, or, you expect there's like something going on. There's a fight, there's a skirmish, what have you. In horror comics, that's not necessarily the case. But the covers that I really like are things like this, where it's an action. It's like you're taking a photo mid, in the middle of this horrific thing that's happening. And it's just freaking awesome. I mean, the covers, and I know you've seen them before, like of other pre-code and even Bronze Age horror comics, where it's just like a zombie shuffling through a cemetery, and it looks really great and atmospheric. That's like a lot of EC Vault of Horror and stuff, where it's usually like they're just not really doing too much. This is action, folks. This is like, yes, something's going on, and it's drastic. All hell has just broken loose and you really want to see what's going to happen next. Unfortunately, these bastards don't have the freaking story that goes along with the cover, because that would be a hell of a story, folks. You know, it's too bad. It is too bad. Let's take a look here. Michael Taylor says certain books you need to buy even if it's missing a few pages, especially if it's inexpensive. Yeah. Oh, I got this for $60 and it's missing several pages. I would get that in a second. Once again, just, I don't know, go online, try to buy any condition copy of Mr. Mystery number 8. This one, just go take a look and get back to me. It's a nightmare, folks. It's a nightmare trying to actually even just get a complete low grade 2.0. Get ready for an arm and a leg, okay? Shadowhawk says, hey, Mike, did you ever do the prop giveaway raffle or whatever? No. Okay. You mean the movie props from First Man on Mars, Shadowhawk? Is that what you're talking about? Because we had the giveaway on Strange Life show, which happened. That already happened. I'm not quite sure. If it is First Man on Mars, yeah, that's when I sell the 300 copies of the movie, which I've just started selling this year. So it's going to take a while before we get to that and we do the auction for the props, for the movie props, just to let you know. Mike, your Shatner isn't bad. Spock, Mike's Shatner is actually pretty good. Thank you, Michael Taylor. Eric says Lopresti often does impressions of Shatner. I think Horror Mike could give Lopresti a run for his money if he tried harder. Lol. He got me. He got me on that one. Yes, Eric agreed. Yes, so it's still on. I hope I answered that question, Shadowhawk. It's still going. As soon as I sell the 300 freaking Blu-rays, we're having the raffle, for the props from the film. Apex says, excellent Shatner. Thank you, Apex. I appreciate that, my good man. Eric says, jokes aside, the impression was good. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that, man. Oh my God. Okay, spin-off show, Trek and Mike, sci-fi flicks. Oh my God. Folks. Oh, hey, look, it's time for a trick. Okay, here we go. Haunted Thrills, right there. It's the card, folks. It's just a card. Okay, it's got the Joker on the back. There. Watch. Here we go. I'm going to try to, there. Okay, hold on. Nothing here, as you can see. There we go. I hope you saw that, because I'm not doing it again. Okay, that's what I'm talking about right now. All right, folks, that's where that is. Now, there is one thing I want to draw your attention to here. Dale Roberts. You guys know, if you ever heard of Dale Roberts, I just want to bring this to your attention, because Dale Roberts seems like a real straight shooter. Now, this guy deals in, collectible comics. It's Dale Roberts Comics. He hails from Colorado. I bought a few comic books from him, and I can tell you a couple of things. A, his evaluations of the comic books are right on. They're very honest. And B, if you go onto his site, you're looking for comic books. The one great thing, let me just show you. Let's just go to a comic book here. He's got some pricey comic books, folks. There's no doubt about that. Let me find a real tasty one. Yeah, this is a good one. Well, it's Golden Age. Marvel Comics number 62. God, what the fuck? Yeah, that's 1945. That's right. Pretty cool. Look at that. That is just too groovy, man. So weird. In any case, so he's got these. He's got a ton of slabbed and unslabbed comic books. Now, look, some of the stuff you may think, well, that's pretty pricey. But here's the thing. It depends on what you're looking for, because on almost every one of these pages, he wants 1,800 for this issue. 4.5, it's Marvel Mystery Comics. It's Golden Age. So, but here's the key. You see, you can make an offer. Every one of the pages, you can make an offer. I did make offers on a couple of books that I bought, and I got a really good deal. The guy is really reasonable. Here's the thing. There are other places that won't deal at all with you. And I got it straight up. I'll tell you, Comic Connect, man, those guys are ridiculous. Like, for example, a few months ago, I'm on Comic Connect. They got an issue of This Magazine is Haunted, really low grade. It was like a 2.0. And the guy was asking $60, right? And so, and it said make an offer. So I'm like, okay, I'll make an offer of $50. That's an offer. And he declined it. I'm just like, what the freaking hell? I mean, I don't know. Like, it seems to me like they're very unreasonable. On the other hand, Dale Roberts here, very reasonable. I'm talking like, I think I knocked off 20% of the price on both of the comic books that I recently bought from Dale Roberts, which made them extremely reasonable, folks. That's my point. So I'm going to drop this link in the chat in case you guys are ever looking. He's got a ton of stuff, from going back Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze, Modern, you name it. He's got a ton of it. And obviously, I'm looking at Golden Age, horror, pre-code, and all that stuff. He's got far less of that because that stuff is just selling like hotcakes now. It's insane. The prices have gone through the roof. But I recommend him because I think he's a straight shooting guy. That's what I'm saying right now. You can't, it's just right now, you never know what the hell you're going to get. Obviously, on eBay, you never know what the hell's going on. You might trust a feedback score. That's true, and, but I'm just telling you that Dale Roberts definitely is a straight shooter as far as a dealer goes. Pretty damn decent. So there you go. I just thought I'd bring that up. Whenever I find dealers or, people in the business like this that are, seem to be on the up and up, I like to show them, to people to, get the word out. Because, yeah, you just find a lot of people that just do not want to, well, they just don't want to deal, man, Holy Toledo. Okay. Steve Harrison says, do the card trick as Spock. Okay, how the hell? I'm not quite sure. Okay, now Steve Harrison, you must be out of your Steve, you must be out of your Vulcan mind. Michael Taylor, good stuff. Dale Roberts sounds like 1950s cowboy actor, and he may have been. I don't know. He's not that old, but it does. You're correct. Shadowhawk says just grabbed a copy of First Man on Mars. Okay. Oh shit. Shadowhawk. Yeah, I always thought you'd gotten a combo of First Man on Mars and Witch Tales, but in reality, I think you got the Witch Tales and fuck, Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. Am I correct? It was Witch Tales and Horror Anthology Movie Volume 1. Michael Taylor says, Mike, you're making me cry. Lord. Thanks, Eric. I may have bought it already, but I don't care. Okay, now, but you may not have. What did you get first? Because I was doing the Witch Tales Horror Anthology movie combo for a long time. Remember that? Wasn't that what you got? I may be wrong. I may be wrong about that, but hey, look, let's put it this way, Shadowhawk. If you did get a copy, you've got another to give as a present. Makes a great stocking stuffer. First Man on Mars. It's a fantastic stocking stuffer. Okay, that's what I'm saying right now. Shadowhawk, I want that helmet. Oh yeah, the helmet's freaking awesome. Yes. A good dealer is hard to find. Well, it's true, Shadowhawk. It was Horror Anthology and Witch Tales. You are correct, sir. Okay, good. Good. Well, this is a brand new one for you. First Man on Mars. I think you're going to dig the hell out of it. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your patronage. I do appreciate that. I mean, yeah, all you got, a ton of you guys in the chat. I know you've either bought one of my movies or some of my movies, or you've gone on to Amazon and downloaded watch streaming films there on Amazon, and I appreciate it. Every last one of you. Obviously it definitely helps in keeping the show going and so forth, and throws me some extra money every month, which is good. It's definitely a good thing. So I appreciate it. My good fiends, good Lord, you are very much appreciated. Apex, there are some good stocking stuffers out there. Indeed. All right, folks. Well, that was our look at Dale Roberts. Now, of course, well, I think you know what's coming up here. Oh, good Lord. Hopefully I can get onto this stupid freaking thing without a problem. I wonder if it's... No, it can't be. I don't think it's Tubi. There, that's better. There we go. Folks, I think this may be one of the best Tubi lineups I've ever seen. Now, granted, of course, I put it together, obviously. But wait until you check this out. I mean, this is like quite a lineup of films. They've just added a few. Granted, a couple of these they've already had on Tubi. I've already told you guys about them before. Just a couple of them, but they go well together. And you're going to have to check some of these out. Now, as I was saying earlier, to start off this, what was initially a nightmare scenario, with starting this live stream was the fact that I was trying to upload trailers to StreamYard, and it was totally screwed up. I mean, the thing was, trailer thing, it was like, trying to upload. And then at one point, it just kicked me out of StreamYard. So that's what's making me think that at the beginning, it was StreamYard that was not functioning correctly. I've got an idea. I think that's what's going on. So the bottom line here, folks, is that sadly I do not have the trailers that I was going to show you. Kind of sucks. Not only that, but you gotta, this is something, I can't even believe this. Let's go back. Let me refresh your memory for a second, your memories. Let's go back for a second. There it is. Remember this freaking movie, Firecracker? I gotta say, this is, before we get into the Tubi stuff, last week I showed you guys a trailer of Firecracker, this 1981 Kung Fu and Breasts movie. In any case, it was like a minute long, right? Showed you the trailer. Guess what? Freaking Shout Factory put a copyright claim on it and immediately demonetized my video. I, of course, after finding out about this, I immediately countered that claim and I was like, look, I explained myself quite clearly. I was like, okay, first off, Firecracker, what I showed is a 1-minute trailer to the movie, which sells the movie. It is, Shout Factory actually may make sales based upon people watching this video that see the trailer. So why are they making a copyright claim against me and demonetizing my video? It makes no sense. This is exactly what I wrote. Submitted that. Of course, YouTube got that, and they forwarded that to Shout TV, and they denied it. They held up their claim and kept my video demonetized. So I guess what I'm saying here is, fuck Shout Factory. Okay, I'm never going to buy another fucking movie from those assholes. And that's the moral of that story, folks. So let's move on now to some better things going on here. All right, let me see. Let me check the, good Lord. Okay, I think we said, yeah, okay. Apex said there's some good stocking stuffers out there. I think that's where we left off. Shadowhawk says, I watched it on YouTube, I think, a while back, or some other streaming service. Love your style, Mike. Well, thank you, Shadowhawk. I appreciate it, man. What's on Tubi? We are getting at that. I just had to vent about that damned Firecracker thing. If you guys can believe that shit. I mean, it's like, you're literally, the trailer has Shout Factory on it, and it says available out at Shout Factory. I played it for you guys last week, and they have the nerve to demonetize my video and make a copyright claim against me for showing a freaking trailer for a movie that they're selling. Logan's Run. Yes, we are about to get to that. One of my favorites, Apex, especially Jenny Agutter. Oh, yes. Boy, is she is spicy in that one, I'll tell you. Michael Taylor, I think Bullet was just added. You are correct, sir. Shadowhawk, Logan's Run classic. Eric says, Horror Mike, now that you're about that, you're talking about that, I recall several people who have had issues with StreamYard a bit frequently of late. You know, Eric, that might be because StreamYard pushed like hell for the last several weeks to get me to pay for their, for one of their services, which I did not because look, I only do one show. It's Friday night show for a couple of hours. I'm not going to pay for, I'll do it directly through YouTube or whatever. It's just, I'm not very big on the live thing. You guys know that. And I like to keep it to one time a week. I think it works really well. And I make the other videos and upload those to YouTube and whatnot. But I think what they were really hammering people. Like, I kid you not, like they were just, they were trying to get people to subscribe. I did not. Maybe they've like cut the quality factor for unpaid, users of StreamYard. Maybe that has something to do with it. It's very possible. Eric also says Elizabeth Hurley, not for that role, but just for her. Yummy. Yeah, she is ultra hot and bedazzled. There is no doubt about that. Holy Toledo. See if I can take these stupid things off. There, I feel a lot better. God, I need to get earbuds. Those damn headphones suck. Apex says, I remember the Logan's Run TV show from 1979 with Gregory Harrison. Right. Yep, there was the TV show. As a matter of fact, I swear, Apex, I believe the TV show is currently on Tubi. Steve Harrison says, Shout Factory came up on your screen, ironically, when you were opening and closing streams a while back. Strange. That's odd. Maybe they're after me. They've got a contract out on Horror Mike, Shout Factory. Damn them. Damn them. Eric says, I don't get why many of these companies get all worked up regarding trailers. I don't know. It's selling the movie. It's a commercial for the movie. What the God? Kung Fu Boobies. One hell of a super watch. Yes, Kung Fu Boobies. Sung in Scatman Crothers' voice. Oh, yes. Steve Harrison. True, Eric. It's free advertising. Yeah. And they want to, it's just, they're so petty. They are so petty and money grubbing little bastards. That's what they are. Eric says, same here, Apex. My friend's dad reminded me a bit of the Android character. Lol. Apex says, trailers are for promoting movies. Get more people to watch them. Why the well, it's not a copyright strike, it's a copyright claim, which means that they, your video is immediately demonetized and Shout Factory gets any money that video makes. Can you believe that shit? So I get no money. I make the video. Shout Factory gets the money and they still have their freaking trailer advertising their freaking movie. That is just insane. It's insane, folks. Michael Taylor says it's amazing you can't get anything by them. Yeah. I mean, they catch everything correct. But they shouldn't be catching that. That's the whole point of it. There's nothing to catch. It's a freaking trailer. If I was showing 10 minutes of one of their movies, yeah, I would say, yeah, sure. Put a copyright claim or copyright strike or whatever, but it's a 1-minute trailer. You got to be kidding me. Derek says, you're definitely not alone in having problems with playing trailers and the copyright strike issues. Yeah, that is true. A lot of people have problems with it, but typically that's also with newer trailers too. I mean, it's freaking trailers from 1981. I don't know. Shadowhawk says, Elizabeth Hurley. Agreed, Eric. I don't care how crazy she is. Yeah, she is definitely scorching and bedazzled, and other movies, of course. I do miss the Sunday nooners, though. Apex says, please like, subscribe, share, ring for notifications. Thank you, Apex. I appreciate it, man. Eric, I can fix her. Shadowhawk talks. Okay. That's what all her boyfriends think, Eric. Okay, I got it. I want to try Shadowhawk. I don't blame you. Michael, I enjoyed those as well. Steve Harrison, I can see music in a preview being a reason to get upset if it's a hit song. Sure. Yeah, that could be a problem. And they get you on those too. One Night in Hurley. Never mind, I'm getting a wee bit drunk. Lowell Shadow. Michael Taylor, it's those freaking bots. There you go. Folks, yeah. We're starting off Tubi with a phenomenal movie. Now, you guys have to realize that in the early 1930s, especially, I mean, it wasn't just Universal, obviously. There were other studios. For some reason, early 1930s, of course, the early sound films, I consider it one of the greatest periods of horror films in the history of horror films. Why? Well, check it out. What do you have in the early 1930s? And I guess we could just say genre films like fantasy, horror, science fiction, because we have Frankenstein, we have Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, Island of Lost Souls, one of my all-time favorites, Freaks, 1932, King Kong. I could go on, folks. It was a couple of years there in the early 30s with one of the most insane lineups of great films ever. Like that concentration of amazing sci-fi, horror, and fantasy films that is just hard to believe. And Freaks was part of it. If you have not seen Freaks, you've got to check this movie out. 1932. The film employed real freaks in the cast. Okay. 1932 horror drama, Freaks. A beautiful trapeze artist marries a sideshow performer hoping to inherit his fortune, but he and his fellow carnival entertainers uncover her plot. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is one you got to see to believe, folks. It is fantastic. It's just a great, great film from that era in a pocket of incredible films. As I said before, you got Frankenstein, Dracula from Universal, Island of Lost Souls. Wow. All of these things are happening at the same time. King Kong. People are just, it was an amazing little era for fantastic cinema. And Freaks is one of those. Put it on your list, folks. You will not regret it. It's an hour and 2 minutes long, right? But man, whoa. It is just, it's hardcore. I call Freaks pretty hardcore in the horror realm. People, they refer to it a lot. It's on a lot of people's top 10 lists, and for good reason. Another great one. I mean, I know you guys were talking about this. You saw it in the lineup, 1976, Logan's Run. Michael York, Jenny Agutter, Farrah Fawcett Majors, Peter Ustinov, Roscoe Lee Brown, of course. In a dystopian world where people face mandatory death at the age of 30, an elite police officer is tasked with hunting down those who try to escape. Great film. It's a 1970s science fiction film, way up there for 70s sci-fi. I definitely put it in the top 10 of 70s sci-fi films. And there's a lot of 70s sci-fi, folks. There's a lot. And this is definitely in the top 10. There's no doubt about it. Could be in the top 5. Easily. Highly recommended. It is now on Tubi. Forbidden Planet has been on Tubi. I put this one next to Logan's Run because I consider it another great one from the 1950s, one of the best. And I consider it to this day one of the greatest science fiction films ever made. Forbidden Planet, 1956. Walter Pidgeon and Francis. Leslie Nielsen in a totally dramatic role. Earl Holliman in a comedic type of role, which is rather humorous. Richard Anderson is in this. George Wallace. God, what a lineup. What an amazing feat of special effects wizardry. Forbidden Planet. A crew on a mission to the distant Forbidden Planet discovers that there are 2 survivors of a spaceship that crashed 2 decades prior. It's just one of those great ones. I put this like it's, I mean, on a scale of science fiction films, this is above most. Even films, great films like The Thing from Another World. But it's just as far as like being effective science fiction films, I put this in the same league as The Thing from Another World. For example, Them, I think, comes to mind. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original Don Siegel 1950s film. It's just way up there. It's absolutely stunning screenplay. The acting is fantastic. Anne Francis is gorgeous. Robbie the Robot is one of the greatest screen robots ever. There's no doubt about that. The special effects on the planet, the house of Morbius is amazing. All around. The Krell, their discovery of the Krell underground. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. You got to see it, folks. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to hold on, folks. All right, hopefully this thing still works. At least it's intact. It is the Forbidden Planet Robbie the Robot. I got this, it has to be about 4 years ago. These were being sold at Walmart. And it walks, it talks. I'm going to hopefully play you a couple of things.
Welcome to Altair Moore, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence. For your convenience, I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, look, folks, they were selling these. It walks, it's huge. You can see it. It walks, it talks. They were selling these at Walmart for 20 bucks. I mean, it's like one of the greatest deals I have ever seen for, I don't know what you call a collectible toy. And this was an exclusive Walmart thing, absolutely fantastic. You can still find them. There, people are selling them on eBay. I don't think they're that expensive. but really great job they did with reproducing the robot. And yeah, so I love it. I love the film. It's one of my favorites. One of those, it's just one of those things, man. Such a great film. Let me get back to the. Hopefully you guys heard that. You could hear it talking. I hope. Eric says Anne Francis was super cute in Forbidden Planet. Yes, she was. Oscar Goldman, Forbidden Planet. Yep, you got it. Steve Harrison. Yeah, Forbidden Planet is iconic. It is. It is just wow. Still way ahead of its time, folks. If you have not seen the movie, it's on Tubi. Watch it. I mean, actually, to in a certain manner, I would consider that a great holiday film because it's just a classic great movie, even though it has nothing to do with Christmas per se. It is just such a great film, and the whole family could watch it, that type of thing. That's what I'm getting at. Steve Harrison, that robot is amazing. It is. And the toy robot, it's crazy, man. I mean, the detail they put into that thing for $20, and the fact that it walks and talks, it's the greatest. It may be the single greatest thing that Walmart ever did. Let me put it that way. That's what I'm saying right now. Shadowhawk says Leslie Nielsen, a stud back then. Yes. Robbie the Robot. One of the few Leslie Nielsen films where he doesn't fart, lol. Apex says, did Anne Francis portray Honey West in 1965? God, good question. I don't know. Michael, yes, it seems amazing from the few clips I've seen. I plan on watching. Yes. You guys, you're going to dig it if you haven't seen it. Also, Freaks is fantastic. So far, so good, folks. We got Freaks, Logan's Run, Forbidden Planet. All three of them should be required viewing. Let's put it that way. The main Pinhead and Freaks, Schlitzie, is actually a male. She lived to a ripe old age in New York. Badass robot, yes. That is a badass robot. But, I saw him on, I think, I remember not too long ago, I think I saw him on eBay for like $50. They haven't gone up in price. I suspect it's because Walmart probably made 1 million of them. You know what I'm saying? So they're not $50. I would totally pay $50 for one of those. I mean, it's fantastic. Steve Harrison loved the robot. Vinmates released a nice vinyl version lately that was nice, so that's cool. Probably worth 150. Yeah, they're not that pricey. I think you can still get them for about $50 on eBay. Apex. Steve says, yes, at the start of the pandemic, so I never made it stateside to buy a Robbie. Michael Taylor, cool packaging. Yes, the whole deal. Very interesting that Walmart would do something for a film that was made in the 1950s. Think about that. Kick that around in your heads there, folks. Like, Walmart, some studio executive was like, we should do this really cool walking and talking Robbie the Robot. And the other guys are like, who the hell's that? What? Come on, man. Where's your Transformers or some bullshit? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It just doesn't. There's something interesting about that. The whole why it came to be, you know. Yeah, B9 was definitely. Actually, I think B9 was part of B9 was Robbie. I think, or at the very least, directly based upon the Robbie the Robot. Yes, you are correct, sir. All right, folks, I'm going to put this back on. Gun Crazy. Now, folks, check out that cover. I love Gun Crazy. I have not seen the movie. I love the Gun Crazy cover, though. And it totally fits in. When you look at this, you're like, okay, well, that almost looks like the cover to a pre-code crime comic book. Of course, it's 1950. Pre-code crime comics are hot. You got Gun Crazy. I plan on watching this. It looks really quite amusing um, and classic. Russ Tamblyn is in this freaking movie, folks. Let's see. 1950. Gun Crazy. A gun-loving, sharp-shooting couple embarks on a crime spree. The two rob banks and outrun the law until one of them starts having second thoughts. There you go. Gun Crazy, folks. It looks good, and I'm going to watch it. Now, here's some great ones. They just added these, folks. Man, I just watched this a week ago. The Maltese Falcon, 1941. Humphrey Bogart in one of his great movies. There's no doubt about that. Mary Astor is also in this. Of course, Peter Lorre, Sidney Greenstreet. Great lineup, directed by the one and only John Huston. The Maltese Falcon, 1941. After taking a case brought by a secretive woman, a private eye is drawn into a web of lies and death spun by people all seeking a gold statuette. The Maltese Falcon. Such a great movie. Check it out. If you like a good crime thriller, this one is right up your alley. If you have not seen it by chance, check it out. It's now on Tubi. Not only that, but they have Dark Passage. Now, this came out 6 years later. And of course, many of you know that Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, were married. They were a thing for years. And so they ended up being in like several films together. This is one of those. Dark Passage, 1947, a noir thriller. If anything starts off with a noir thriller, I'm going to watch it. Okay, that's all there is to it. A noir thriller set in San Francisco about a man who is wrongly convicted of his wife's murder and escapes from prison to find the real killer. Dark Passage. Man, just another great one. Two great Bogart films back to back, folks. That's what I'm talking about. There. That's better. Probably. Next up, one of my favorite child killer movies. You got to see it to believe it. The Bad Seed from 1956. This film is so hardcore. I just watched it again a few nights ago. It's probably one of those films I watch once a year, once every 2 years at least. It is brutal. It's shocking. It is the way that they do it is, how should I say this? I mean, it's not graphic. It is shocking without being graphic. It's about a 9-year-old sociopath killer. And whew, it is quite good. If you have not seen The Bad Seed, man, you got to check this out. Patty McCormack plays the kid. She was so damn good, she was nominated for an Academy Award, folks. And it was her first film. Okay. She's freaking awesome in this movie. The whole cast is great. What a great cast. It's intense. It's unnerving because of what this little girl does and the things that are revealed about her and her mother. It's, oh boy, I'll tell you, it's just one of those movies you're thinking, holy shit, man, they made this film in 1956. Incredible. Um, the Bad Seed. A woman with a hidden past discovers the horrifying truth that within her seemingly angelic young daughter beats the heart of a cold-blooded killer. Put it on your list, folks. If you want to see, and they label this correctly. It is a drama horror thriller. There is no doubt about that. The Bad Seed. Check it out. Next up, you got to see it. You got this is just I had the damn trailer lined up. I wanted to show you guys the trailer to Blow Up 1966. This is rather it's important in a few different ways. In the first place, it's Michelangelo Antonioni, famous Italian film director. Blow Up 1966. I'll read the thing. A fashion photographer who casually takes a somewhat voyeuristic shot of a man and a woman in an embrace comes to discover that he's captured a murder. Okay, so what happens? This guy, David Hemmings, who's great in this, Vanessa Redgrave is also in this, Sarah Miles, great cast. David Hemmings plays this he's an asshole photographer, right? He's just really a bit of an ass. And he's stuck up. He doesn't really care about anybody else. He loves photography. He does a lot of fashion photography. And one day he's walking around in this park. There's nobody in the park, and he just happens to see this couple, and they're embracing, they're kissing and stuff, and he starts taking photos of them. And he discovers that later that there was a murder involved at the time that he was taking the photographs, and that the photos, upon blowing up the photos, I'm trying to speak carefully because I don't want to give away anything, but that's blow up. He's talking about blowing up the photos that he took to find clues as to what the hell is going on surrounding this murder. This movie is fantastic. It was written by Julio Cortázar, an Argentine writer who I highly recommend. I'm going to pull this off the screen right now. This is one of his books. I would recommend this book. Julio Cortázar, End of the Game, Fin del Juego. And it is in English, and it has this story. It's like a 25-page story, folks, called Blow Up. It also has stories like Bestiary, which is fantastic. Cortázar moves between like fantasy, horror, a little bit of science fiction, and just like weird drama, existentialist drama. And Blow Up is kind of like, I don't know how to describe it other than it is like an existentialist murder mystery. It's intriguing as hell. Once you start watching it, it's one of those films that envelops you. So at one point, you're in it. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. It is one hell of a movie. It's a great adaptation of Julio Cortázar. It's just a great, this book, it's got all of his, probably what would be considered some of his best stories, including Blow Up, The Bestiary, uh, the House Taken Over, which is stunning, and so several others that I really like. End of the Game is great. So, in any case, highly recommended. Julio Cortázar, End of the Game, and yeah, so that's what's going on with uh, Blow Up. It's a great movie. It's a weird movie, but man, is it good. It's quite the film. Highly recommended. Another great one. I mean, this is why I'm saying I'm not saying that these movies are good. I'm saying they're great, folks. Seriously. The Picture of Dorian Gray, 1945, of course, adapted from the timeless Oscar Wilde classic. If you haven't seen it, there are several really good versions, adaptations of the story. This is a really good one. Okay. George Saunders is in this, Donna Reed, Angela Lansbury, Peter Lawford. What a cast. A gentleman makes a dark pact to remain forever young, while the age, disease, and decay that should affect his body ravages a portrait of himself. The Picture of Dorian Gray, one of the great horror novels. I rank it up there easily with Frankenstein. No doubt about that. Highly recommended, folks. It's on Tubi. I think they've just recently added that one. I have not seen this version in 30 years, but I plan on watching it definitely again. I'm so glad that Tubi's got it. And now they've had Body Snatcher on for a while. 1945, Boris Karloff. I mean, come on, folks. It is fantastic. Uh, just an excellent Karloff film with Bela Lugosi, directed by Robert Wise, folks. I mean, good Lord. The Body Snatcher. When an Edinburgh scientist runs out of fresh corpses to conduct his humanitarian research, he directs his grave robbing henchmen to produce his own. It's so good. I love it. I love it. And yeah, no, I mean, I immediately had to put The Old Dark House right next to this. This is 1932.
It's that
Another great horror film from that era that we were just looking at. 1932, Freaks, King Kong, Frankenstein, Dracula, Island of Lost Souls, The Old Dark House, directed once again by the great James Whale, who directed Frankenstein. Horror comedy. There is a bit of comedy in this. It is such a weird freaking movie. It's a horror film, and then it's a comedy, then it's a horror film. It's so good. Excellent cast: Boris Karloff, Charles Laughton, Gloria Stewart, Melvin Douglas, for Christ's sake. And Karloff is just fantastic in this film. Seeking shelter from a storm, 5 stranded travelers walk into the arms of danger when they become guests at the Femme family's mountaintop mansion. Oh, yeah, The Old Dark House, folks. What a movie. You gotta check it out. It's quite good indeed. And now look, I just kind of put this on here because I hadn't seen it on Tubi. I think they may have just added it. This is a documentary called Every Other Day is Halloween from 2009. And it's a documentary about Dick Dyszel, Richard Dyszel, who was a horror host. I think he still is, but kind of off and on these days. But a horror host for many years. And so, yeah, it's a documentary covering, I I believe, what's probably like 3 decades, maybe 4 decades of him doing various characters for TV shows, whether they were like, uh, local shows or whatever. Dick Dysel did numerous characters. I think probably Count Gord Duvall is his most famous character, the vampire character. But yeah, so in any case, this colorful doc explores the career of TV personality Dick Dysel, a popular horror host who inspired generations of movie fans and filmmakers. There you go. Every Other Day is Halloween. I have not seen the entire documentary. It's another thing. I had the trailer, couldn't upload it to StreamYard. So yeah, I would have had a trailer for you guys. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But it's on Tubi. You can watch it on Tubi, folks. And I plan on watching it this coming week. No doubt about it. I love documentaries about horror hosts, going back in the day, the 80s and 90s, even before that, but the 80s and 90s is like, well, 70s, 80s, and 90s, I was more aware of horror hosts. That was kind of my period. So yeah, especially the 80s. I would say probably the 80s is the big decade for me in any case. But so there you have it, folks. That's the Tubi rundown. And as I said, it's like, I recommend every damn one of these movies. And that's rare. That is rare because you know how it is, folks. Usually there's a couple of clunkers in every batch. And not this time. Not this time. Oh, no. Good Lord. See, what the hell? Okay. Okay. I got to remove that and go to singular, I guess. There we go. I think we're good to go there. That is so strange. Oops. Oops, a daisy. All right. Groovy. Good Lord, I've had a lot of people commenting here. Where did I leave off, folks? Well, I'm gonna have to go random. Shadowhawk says, "Oh, that's a good one. The remake was lame. Maybe not that bad, but not quite sure what that was. Why is there a fat? Jesus criminy! Why are they? What is going on here? Hold on. Fuck. Well, this thing is just annoying. StreamYard has gotten really annoying. God, fuck. Ugh. All right. In any case, I put on my glasses here. Ugh. Why is there a fat lady before a movie on Tubi? Shouldn't she appear toward the end of the movie? Yeah. Right. Dr. Mad Studio is with us. Hello, Dr. Mad Studio. I'm saying that right. Yeah. For anyone wondering, I live in the northwest of UK, not too far from Liverpool, where the Beatles came from. Well, greetings, Dr. Mad Studio. It is good to see you here on this fine and fiendish Friday night. I welcome you, sir. Ramsey Campbell, I may have to look for his books. Swerve is a great Australian movie on Tubi. He's worth checking out. Apex Comics. Most of his books are psychological horror. Oh yeah, Ramsey Campbell's. Yeah, he's quite good. I've got a few. I've got a collection. I think it's called Holes for Faces, which is really quite good, of Campbell's. Funny enough, I just got done watching a documentary about Boris Karloff. Yeah, man. Body Snatchers and The Old Dark House are just prime Karloff. He is so good in both of those. You know, God, absolutely fantastic. I'll probably never meet the likes of Stephen King or Clive Barker, but I'm fortunate enough to know Ramsey as a friend and mentor. Wow, that's fantastic, Dr. Mad Studio. I mean, good Lord, Ramsey Campbell. Are you kidding me? Do I keep screwing that up? No, that's right. Yeah, sorry. I thought StreamYard may be haunted, folks. I think that's what the conclusion that I'm reaching right now. But that's amazing that you are friends with Ramsey Campbell. Yeah, he's, you know, I would go as far to say one of the greatest living horror writers. As a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, Dr. Mad Studio, I think he's better than Stephen King. Okay. Let's just, between the two of us, I think Ramsey Campbell is better. Daninsky, all those RKO Val Lewton produced horror films like The Body Snatcher, I Walked with the Zombie are all pretty awesome. Yes, agreed, Daninsky. Man, I've got the Val Lewton set. It's like a DVD set with the cat people, and so forth. That stuff just absolutely fantastic. It was Val Lewton and M.R. James, his adaptations, of course, the Curse of the Demon. Ugh. Why do I keep forgetting the other guy? It's Val Lewton and the other guy, man. God damn it. It'll come to me. But they're great movies. Yeah, you're absolutely right. RKO, man. RKO is rocking. Rocking. Gore Duvall has a Roku page. That is fantastic, folks. You want to check it out? Gore Duvall has a Roku page. Occasionally he's on the Monster Channel, and I believe he's also on OSI 74, if I'm not mistaken. Apex says, I just Googled Ramsey Campbell. He has a good bibliography of horror books that are published. Yeah, the guy's huge. As I say, I think he's one of the best, absolutely considered to be one of the best living horror writers. I would put him way up there. Dr. Mad Studio, Apex Comics. Ramsey published his first book in 1964 when he was just a teenager. Dr. Mad says at least 3 films of Ramsey's work have been turned, books of Ramsey's have been turned into films. The most recent was The Influence. I have not seen that on Netflix. That's impressive. I need to read some of his work and invite him on a live stream at your recommendation, Dr. Mad. There you go. Dr. Mad says, go ahead, Apex Comics. If I know Ramsey, he's always up for a chat. There you go. Michael Taylor says, Tubi, great stuff as always. Yes. As I'm saying, once again, folks, exceptional this time around. Steve says, Whale was the reason Karloff's back was in such bad shape after scenes in Frankenstein, where he was made to repeat carrying the doctor again and again. Dr. Med says, thank you for the compliment, Horror Mike. I'll be sure to pass it to Ramsey. Absolutely. Yeah, it completely deserves it. Are you kidding me? Good Lord. Great writer. Steve says, Karloff upset Whale because he fought so hard not to do the little girl scene. Karloff was in pain to the end over this guy. Dr. Matt, last saw Ramsey in person a few weeks ago at a local convention, which is only a 5 minutes from his house. Wow, that is great, man. Eric says you can check out and subscribe to the creator of Fembat and the Creep, Apex Comics, here on YouTube. Folks, there it is. Go over there, check it out. Apex Comics on the scene. There's his channel. You want to go over there and subscribe. For God's sake. You need to subscribe to Apex Comics. Spock, I'm begging you, subscribe. There you go. Okay, folks. Well, that wraps up tonight's tumultuous episode of Horror Mike Show with a really rocky start. Can you imagine? Like, you guys, people that weren't here for the first 20 minutes, it was pure hell. I mean, I literally had to kill the feed and come back 4 times. Okay, it was so screwed up. But fortunately, let me just get a yes or a no from you guys. Now, for the last hour and a half, have you noticed any bad looking video, as I'm speaking, or glitching, lagging, anything? Has it been, as good as it should be, I guess is what I'm saying. Steve, interesting Frankenstein issue. Con! Thanks, Mike. You're welcome, Steve. Excellent stream. Horror Mike, thank you, Apex. It was all good. Excellent. Thank you. You can find Ramsey online, Apex Comics. He's very active on social media. No problems from my end. Excellent, Dr. Mad. Nope, no problems at all. This is great news, folks. Yeah, that is so weird, isn't it? Because it last week, it kind of did the same thing. It wasn't as bad last week. But once it straightened out, there were like no more problems. That is so weird. What the hell is it? Why would it do that? Like, just start off bad and then, 10, 20 minutes later, it's fine. I don't know. I'm looking into it, folks. I'm looking into it. I just don't want it happening next week. Steve Harrison, Mike, in the spirit of Xmas, Christmas only came back once. Oh, Christ only came back once. Thank you. Okay. I guess. I don't know. Not sure. Yeah, that was an annoying start. Yes, it was, Michael Taylor. God, I'll tell you. Steve, hands across the water. Dr. Mad. Eric says you can subscribe to my channel if you would like. There you are, folks. Please go over and check out Eric M. Boyd Art on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. You will dig the heck out of it. It could be a lot of reasons, including the fact that StreamYard is haunted, Michael Taylor. That's I'm going with that until I find out otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Folks, thank you very much for being with me tonight on the Horror Mike Show. Next week is kind of a, what we might call a semi-Christmas show. Let's just call it a Christmas show. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you were not here before, this is going to be great. You're going to see Horror Mike making a few Cousin T buttermilk pancakes. Now check that out. It's Cousin T's, folks, from the kitchen of Cousin T. Yeah, we don't got Aunt Jemima anymore because of those idiots, in corporate who decided that people were just getting too offended or some stupid crap. But at least we have Cousin T on the scene, and we're going to see just how good his stuff is. Okay, folks? So Horror Mike's going to be in the kitchen, and guess what? We're going to have another Scream Queen in the kitchen with us. Yes, you'll just have to, and this is a Scream Queen that all of you know. Let's put it that way. You've all heard of her. And so she's going to be in there with me. helping Horror Mike make some Cousin T's buttermilk pancakes. So that's one thing on the agenda for next week, folks. Plus, we're talking Christmas movies. And of course, Tubi's got a really great selection. Doesn't have to be horror films or whatever. Could be just classic Christmas films. Get your list together if you would like. Also, we're going to be covering Christmas toys. Steve and I have been talking about that. He suggested it last week. We're going with it. So if you have any favorite Christmas toys from yesteryear, you know, when you were a kid, a teenager, an adult, doesn't matter. If you got any favorites, by all means, let's talk about them next week on the show. And that is, of course, Friday, December 22nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me just see here. Steve says, thanks, Horror Mike. Great show. Bring on Cousin T pancakes and grits. Apex says, horror Christmas show indeed. Horror Mike Christmas show spectacular or spooktacular. One of the two. Michael Taylor says, Mike and Chad have a good weekend. You too, Michael Taylor. Thanks for being here. Dr. Mad Studio. I know I came into the stream late, but it's been fun. Thank you, Dr. Mad Studio. You're always welcome back. Hopefully, we'll see you next week on the show. That would be fantastic. Deninsky, another great live stream. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, Deninsky. Thanks for being here. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Steve says, come back. Dr. Mad, go Manchester United. PBR Street Gang, no bad video. Excellent. Thank you, PBR. I appreciate that. I just subbed, so I will be back, folks. Excellent. Excellent, Dr. Mad. We will see you soon. Michael Taylor, don't count Stephanie out just yet. Well, I have. That's not going to happen, folks. Don't worry though, Michael Taylor. It's you know, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. Well, it's going to be a heck of a show. You're going to dig it. Steve Harrison says fad toys like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Fad toys like Jingle All the Way. Okay, not quite sure. But in any case, you guys have a great rest of the weekend. And I'll see you next Friday. Okay, you guys